Yo, what is up guys? Welcome back to some more Williams Road to Glory here today for the Belgian Grand Prix at the legendary Circuit Spa-Francorchamps. Now if you guys missed a previous episode at Hungary, a race in which we took a grid penalty and we started from the back of the grid, then go check it out. I'll leave a link up in the top right hand corner. And the reason we took a grid penalty was for this race and the one after at Imola, because of course they are power circuits, so I want to have a fresh engine for this race and the next one. So hopefully you guys look forward to the episode. We've got a lot of rain involved and some big developments in terms of the development race in the R&D, so let's jump into it. If you guys are going to enjoy the video, leave a like. Let's try and smash over 1,000 likes on this episode. I trust you guys to beat that target. Subscribe for more daily F1 content and let's see what happens around Spa. Now we jump into the weather forecast this weekend. You can see we've got some rain for the race and it's going to be heavy rain to light rain to dry conditions, but also in the development race, due to upgrades, look at this cluster of midfield teams we have right now. Renault Alpine, Williams, AlphaTauri, McLaren, Racing Point, and even Ferrari, you could say, are in there right now. We've got an extra major aerodynamic upgrade on the way, so fingers crossed that does arrive. Unfortunately, it was meant to arrive for this race, but it failed, and this is the first race back after the season break. So yeah, we was meant to have the upgrade on the car here today. It didn't arrive, so fingers crossed it will be on the car for the Singapore Grand Prix, if I'm not mistaken. After practice though, we had a pretty smooth, decent session compared to Hungary last time out, which was a real mess, and we scored a decent amount of R&D points. But of course, the whole point of the last race and me starting from the back of the grid was so that I could take an engine penalty, and finally now we're going to kind of reap the rewards from that, and we're going to strap on the brand new engine number 3 basically, and all fresh components heading into the qualifying session here at Spa. So that's going to give us a nice little power boost, just a performance boost overall, you know, full stop, and hopefully we can take a step forward combined with the upgrades and really make a step forward. Now speaking of Q1, you can see here currently I'm on my first lap of the session, so my first full lap. The previous one I finished it, but I wasn't happy with it and it was very messy, so we're just going to go on board for a full lap of Spa here for my first Q1 lap. So we're currently P15 and we're on the cutoff. You know, if we lose one more place, we're going to get knocked out, so we have to improve, and already 3 tenths up heading onto the Camel Straight. You know, I made a big mess of turn 1 on my previous lap, and just in general the previous lap was very scruffy, so I knew there was a lot more time and it was just a question of trying to hook it all together and make a clean lap and try not to make any major errors. So yeah, you can see now we found a bit more time as we make our way through Rivage, over 4 tenths up now, almost half a second at one point there as we plummet downhill through turn 9 and then down towards Pouan. So you can see now in the top left we've actually been pushed down to P16, so we need to make sure we improve here. It doesn't have to be a big margin, you know, we've got Leclerc's reference time of just ahead in P14, so I've got something to aim for. So as we make our way through the end of Sector 2 now, we're going to see where we are with 1 sector to go. Sector 2, my big time loss sector, and we're currently 2 tenths down on Charles Leclerc, so it could be quite close to get out, but I know Sector 3 is one of my stronger ones, just like Sector 1. So here we are, flat out 335-ish, 330 kilometers an hour, give or take, on the back straight here onto the bus stop chicane we go, braking as the curb appears on the left hand side, down a second gear, rotate the car left, and then try and get that traction out the front of the corner as we open DRS, and we improve by 3.5 tenths, and that lap will be enough for P15, so we just get through and eliminate Lance Stroll in the process. George Russell through in P12 as well, so fair play to George, great performance from him. We set a 39.4, George with a 39.2, so he was actually 2 tenths quicker than us in that session, so yeah, fair play. George doing a great job. We're now in Q2, and this was the end of my first time lap. You can see here running up to the line, we're going to set a 39.5, so a tenth slower than our Q1 time in Q2, and we're currently last in P15, so it's all down to this last lap. Can we improve? Can we find some time? We're about to find out. Let's go for a full lap of Spa, and fingers crossed we can try and get out of Q2. And there we go, across the line, we improved by 2.5 tenths, but unfortunately, it's not going to be enough to see us into Q3. To be fair, there wasn't a lot more pace in the car. Besides the mistake at turn 1 where I lost 2 tenths, the rest of the lap was pretty strong. So I don't even know if I would have got Leclerc, to be honest with you, on a perfect lap. Having said that, my best lap in Q2 was a 39.4. We improved by 2 tenths in Q2. Meanwhile, Russell actually went 2 tenths slower. So surprisingly, Russell's Q1 lap time would have given him P14 ahead of me. So yeah, in the end, it's P14 and P15 for both of us as we get eliminated in Q2. So that's going to be the end of our qualifying. And of course, for the race, we've got rain. So it's going to make things very, very spicy. Either way, you can see the rivalry breakdown. Bottas picks up an extra point and he takes a 7-4 lead heading into the race. And yeah, speaking of the race, let's jump into it. Let's see how it goes, and fingers crossed we can try and fly in the wet weather conditions.
We're in Belgium once again for today's round of the Formula One World Championship. It's a race the great Ayrton Senna won 6 times, and in 2019, Charles Leclerc became the first driver to take their maiden win here since Michael Schumacher in 1992. Spa-Francorchamps then, a 4.35-mile tour of the Ardennes countryside with 9 right corners and 10 left corners, giving us a grand total of 19. Average lap speeds in the dry can reach about 145 miles per hour, but without a significant improvement in these conditions, we won't be seeing anything like that today. Anthony Davidson also joins me in the commentary box today. Now, I want to ask you about Lewis Hamilton. As ever, the threat of unreliability is never far away, and indeed they'll be starting out of position today due to a power unit component change. So it's going to be a difficult task to move forward from there.
Everyone has to deal with penalties or reliability issues from time to time throughout their career. You just have to suck up the pain and get on with the job at hand. Today isn't about performing a miracle to put the car back where it should be. It's about effective damage limitation.
With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position, and P2 goes to Daniel Ricciardo. A strong showing from the Australian. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Gasly, Verstappen, Alexander Albon, and Ocon, Kvyat, Norris, Perez, and Carlos Sainz. Hamilton, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Leclerc, Martinez, and Russell, Stroll, Magnussen, Romain Grosjean, and Antonio Giovinazzi. Matsushita and Sebastian Vettel starts from the back of the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
Okay guys, here we are then on the grid for the Belgian Grand Prix, P13, and as you saw in the race intro, it's raining quite a lot. We are on the full wet tyres, and it's going to make for a very, very interesting race. Now, I feel pretty confident in the rain. I feel like it could be a great opportunity for us to make something happen. Fingers crossed the car works well. But first of all, we're going to look at the race strategy because the rain is expected to dry out later on. So it could be one of them races where we go from the full wet to the intermediate to the dry tyre. So there's going to be lots of strategy and timing needed to try and get the best strategy possible. Now, in terms of the fuel load, I feel like we're going to go with 20.7 laps, which is 1.3 less. And the reason for that is because I want to be really light on fuel and try and be competitive, especially during the rain. That kind of period of the race is where you can save a lot of fuel, run a lot of lean mix and save. So this is a good option for us in terms of being aggressive. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We're going to see how the race goes, and let's see if we can try and score some big points because all of our title rivals are up the sharp end. So we need to try and turn this around. Okay, here we go. Lean revs to maximize the traction in these conditions. Lights out, away we go. Trying to be a bit more aggressive with the RPMs off the start. Looks like we're going to find a bit of joy and a bit of space on the outside. Hamilton down to P11 with a grid penalty. We get forced wide at La Salle, so I have to be careful. Sainz and Perez ahead, but crucially we get ahead of Hamilton, which is massive for us, of course, in terms of the championship. Up towards Eau Rouge, we're going to just take a back seat here to this Sainz and Perez battle as they go side by side up through Radion on the first lap of the race. Hamilton now trying to get involved. I'm going to use all of the straight line speed that we have in this car. Go 3 wide with Sainz and Perez here. On the brakes, super late through here. We just about get the car slowed down. We've got Perez trying to get back past, but I'm going to just edge ahead, I think. Not quite. Perez still there. I'm going to move right across though. into turn 8 and get the inside line, and there we go, we're through. Up into P9, what a great start. And crucially ahead of Hamilton as well, which is insane. That's exactly what we needed, so really aggressive. Making use of the fact that we've got a lot less fuel in the car and just trying to use these conditions to our favour. I feel like the AI will be quicker in the dry, so we need to use these wet conditions to really make some progress here. So I'm going to try and close up to Kvyat and Ocon up ahead. So let's see if we can make some progress here. Whoa, easy, let's calm down. Let's not go that fast through a rouge maybe, let's just take it a bit slower. Russell pits, that's interesting. Could that be for intermediates maybe? That's a very early stop. He's in there with one of the Aston Martin Racing Points, so I wonder if maybe there was just a bit of contact and damage. Not sure. Either way, looks like everyone else is staying out, so we'll stick with it for now. Seems like I'm lacking a bit of pace right now. Cars are pitting, so I'm going to go for it. I'm just going to pit for the Inters and send it, see what happens. Not really requested a pit stop, but you know what? We're just going to go for it. Bit of an impromptu decision, but this feels like the right thing to do. Hopefully we can have a quick stop, don't get held, and try and, you know, push on these Inters. The pace actually wasn't that great on the full wets, so it was a bit slow. Here we go. And away we go. Looks like we've not jumped anyone, but we've stayed ahead of Sainz, which is all that matters. Let's see if we can get with Kvyat here, try and get a bit closer and stick with him. Undercut time though, we need a big outlap here. Right, plenty more cars in the pits. Unfortunately, I can tell already my pace is not great. I'm struggling for pace, especially in that middle sector. That's becoming a bit of a problem for us. But let's see, so Perez fastest lap, so him pitting a lap before us was the right call. And look at this, we're going to be right behind Ocon here. So the undercut to the Inters has worked really well. Massive train of cars up ahead. We've got some side-by-side action with Kvyat and I believe one of the McLarens. That's Lando Norris. I'm trying to see if I can get close and get involved in this battle here using the ERS, but it looks like we're just a bit too far back. But there's loads of battles up ahead and everyone's really close on track, so this race is still wide open. As we set a purple first sector here, you can see all the battling ahead is absolutely crazy. I think we've got a mix of slower runners on the full wets and intermediate runners, and it's just causing chaos as we head down towards turn 8. I'm tempted here to have a little look around the outside of Ocon. Yes, nice. Just using the fact that AI are slow when battling and just making a nice, clever move there on the Frenchman. Ocon's going to try and fight back, but I'll read it and fend him off. Fuel saving hasn't been that great so far as we've run wide through Prix. That's going to allow Ocon straight back through here. I'm trying to fight back. I think Ocon's going to get it though, unless I go super late on the brakes, which I do. And I just get that one back. But yeah, I am struggling for pace, and also fuel saving is not going according to plan at the moment, which is a bit of an issue. Let's see through here though. Through Stavlo, can we get a good exit? I'm short shifting like crazy to save fuel and also to not spin the rears. I'm just really struggling with rear traction. Actually, Sainz is now the car behind. It's no longer Ocon. So Sainz putting some pressure on here in the other McLaren as we head through Blanchimont. Trying to stay ahead of Carlos. This could be an airplane crash if I'm not careful. Just going to keep my car in the middle of the track to avoid carnage. We're going to slip through here and got the inside of Lando into the bus stop. Using the fact we had a slow Haas there. Not quite good enough on traction though. Lando gets ahead for now. I'm going to stick with it though. Not great. I'm really having to concentrate. Traction just isn't there right now. But we're close enough. If I can just get the run and keep the momentum through a rouge, we should be okay. Slight little lift, bit of correction there, but that's okay. Oh baby, that is big for the championship. Hamilton with issues. Meanwhile, here we go. Closing in on Lando. Going the long way around here. Lecom. Inside line for this one. Going to give him the squeeze. And we're through. Up into P7. Love that. McLaren's then battling behind us. Let's try and pull away if we can. But Hamilton with car issues. That is massive for the championship here. Oh yes. Flat out now through a rouge and radio. Starting to get that confidence now. This is good. Sainz has overtaken Norris and he's 1.2 behind, so we're keeping a gap as well, which is great. So higher 52 from Bottas. That's the pace the leaders are setting. Albon 52.8. This is a better lap from me actually. And we set a 52.9, so that is right on the pace and right on the money. So I'm starting to find a bit of a rhythm now. It's taken me 8 laps to get comfortable in this race. The first 8 laps, honestly, I was hanging on. I had no pace in the middle sector, but now I'm starting to find some pace now. So let's try and keep it going and see if we can close up to the cars ahead. Well, the pace all round seems very strong from everyone right now and very similar. Oh dear, that wasn't good. They're getting a bit too confident there. Seems like the AI though have picked up their pace again now because I'm losing a lot of time to Kafiat ahead. He's just dropping me like a stone right now.
Some information on Ocon. They seem to have an issue.
Well, Ocon's behind us, so that's irrelevant now. Would have been better when he was ahead of us, but that's okay. That's another car with problems now. This is why I chose the fresh engine for this race, you see. Cars are going to start struggling with reliability, and we're going to have a big advantage on that front. The pace just isn't there now anymore. I don't know what it is, but we had 1 or 2 laps where we was quite quick, and now suddenly it's all dropped. So yeah, I haven't really got a response to the AI's pace right now. They're starting to make their way towards the low 52s. I can't match that, so yeah, it is what it is right now. Got both McLarens right behind. My pace is in the low 53s, so it goes to show how the drop-off has occurred. Okay, rain has now stopped, so we're running on a drying track. So it could be a switch to soft tyres any moment now, and the good thing is we've got a few fresh sets saved up so we can go into a fresh set of softs later on. Okay, Bottas pits. Is that for another set of inters? Yeah, it is. That's another set of inters for Bottas. That is an interesting one as we set a new personal best. Oh no, George is doing it as well. This is suicide strategy.
George is in the pits. George in the pits.
This ain't going to be good. This is going to ruin George Russell's race. We need to stay out. Looks like the AI considering stopping for inters again. We need to hang on to the dry tyre period now. Pace is really bad this lap. This ain't good for me. These conditions are my worst ones. I'm better when it's heavy rain on the inters, you know, when there's a lot more water on track. When it's getting really dry and there's not a lot of water, I'm not good at all. The AI are much stronger than me with their traction control. But more cars are pitting though, so this is interesting in terms of strategy because this is going to be suicide and this is going to give me plenty of free positions here. So I'm not complaining, but this is giving me the race right now. If we just stay out for a little bit longer, we're going to benefit massively. This is it. Here we go. Let's see what it is.
Copy that.
There it is. Switch to dries for the soft tyre. I was going to pick this up anyway. I selected box this lap back on the Kemmel straight. So here we go then. Let's push. Going to try and save the last bit of fuel before we do box. Track is pretty much bone dry now. And I've just about managed to get my fuel on target, which is great, so we won't have to do much fuel saving. Of course, we'll have to keep an eye on it in this final stint. DRS now enabled. Into the pit entry. Perfect. Nice. See, there you go. Just by staying out in the inters, I've been so slow this race. I've had no pace on the inter or the full web, but somehow a P3 just by having a bit of IQ and simple, you know, calm, cool head with strategy. So, soft tyres. And away we go, 2.3 stop, great stuff from the boys. Bottas got held up massively, by the way, behind us as well, by the looks of it, so that is even better news. And away we go then.
George is coming in for his stop.
Track's still a bit greasy, so not fully optimal, but you can see we've actually increased our gap over Lando. AI going for mediums, we're going for softs, because obviously we've got a fresh set, and soft tyres will be more than easily manageable to get to the end now, so this is looking good for us, for a podium, which I did not expect, and crucially ahead of our title roles as well, which again I did not expect. The track has suddenly just ramped up massively and now it's fully dry conditions. Bottas is fighting back through, he's up to P5. I'm trying to go flat out right now and Norris is matching my pace on medium. So Norris, we might have to watch out for him at the end if my tyres start to go. But for now I'm trying to push as much as I can here. But yeah, the track feels like it's pretty much gone fully dry now in terms of track pace. Albon new fastest lap, we're not going to beat that but hopefully we'll get close. 42.1, let's see what Bottas does behind for reference. Okay, not a fast lap from Bottas, which is surprising, but a 49 from Verstappen. There you go, that's 1.2 quicker than me. That's the kind of pace the top guys can run at, so let's try and hold on for the remaining laps of the race if possible. Slightly better lap that time around, 41.6, that's more on the pace. And we dropped Norris on that lap. A little bit more, which is good. Let's try and keep that up if we can. Bottas and Norris battling a little bit. This is good news for us again, to just help me increase my gap slightly. I think Bottas has just got the move done, but they've lost a bit of time, which is good news for us as the sun starts to come out. Another personal best. Just trying to keep that pace going right now. Bottas is at full pace now. He's been unleashed, so let's see when he gets onto the back of us. 3 laps to go, and the gap is just under 3 seconds. Let's try and keep him out of DRS range for as long as possible. Well, we've got a yellow in Lecom. One of the McLarens, Carlos Sainz. Looks like we're not going to get a VSC though, or a safety car, so I'm happy with that. Just keep the pace up here. A safety car now would have ruined my race, or a VSC even wouldn't have helped, but that's good to see that we're going to be okay. Here we go, last sector now of the race. We're going to use the rest of the ERS that we have left, along with our remaining fuel. Bottas trying to close the gap here. He's using all of his straight line speed and engine power to get close. Albon's going to pick up the surprise victory. Gasly's going to be on the podium. And we're going to come through from P13 on the grid, P14 after qualifying, and we're going to come through for a shock podium and outscore all of our championship rivals. Come on.
A difficult race then on one of the all-time classic circuits, but they persevered to take the win here today. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy and to stay out of trouble.
Red Bull put up an outstanding fight for the front position today, and it's great to see it paid off for them. They do so much for the sport that you can't help but be delighted by today's race win.
Well, there we go then, guys. That is it for the race here today. Race results confirmed. Alexander Albon picks up the race win and P1 for the Red Bull team. Pierre Gasly P2. We finish in third on the podium ahead of Valtteri Bottas, Lando Norris, Esteban Ocon, Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc, Daniel Kvyat and Daniel Ricciardo, with Kvyat picking up the fastest lap. Missing out the points, we have Lance Stroll, Lewis Hamilton, George Russell, Sebastian Vettel, Sergio Perez, Matsushita, Grosjean, Magnussen, Giovinazzi and Sainz, who retired at the end. And in terms of the driver standings after that race, we move up to third place. We overtake Bottas by a single point, and we're 37 points off the top as the gap closes and the top 4 get even closer. We look at the constructor standings and we remain in third place, 40 points clear from Scuderia AlphaTauri, and yeah, we're chilling right now and we're looking pretty decent. So we're going to move into the main menu and put on an upgrade. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it arrives for the next race in Monza. Well, after the race, we outscore Valtteri Bottas by a point, and of course we managed to hold him off right at the end, so we're going to keep ourselves in the mix in terms of the driver rivalry. But we then look at the driver acclaim, and after that race we fall just short of level 14. Hopefully we'll achieve that in the next round in Monza. Now the next race is in 3 days time, so we don't really have enough time to put on an upgrade for the Italian Grand Prix, so we're going to think ahead to Singapore. And I'm looking at these chassis upgrades. It's only minor, but we are going to go ahead and do them. They're both for tyre wear, which is a good thing for us because it's something that we severely lack on the car. So we're going to go ahead and get that on for Singapore. Hopefully we'll add this one as well in the next episode, and that will be 2 tyre upgrades heading into a pretty tyre wear heavy circuit, you know, in Singapore. So yeah, let's skip ahead to Italy, but no upgrades on the car for this race, and we'll just try and see if we can get by with our pretty high engine performance, which if you look here is actually pretty insane. We're second behind Mercedes, so we're still very, very strong in that department. But guys, that is going to be it for today's episode of the Williams Road to Glory. And if you guys enjoyed it, leave a like, subscribe for more daily content. We're so close now to 60,000 subs, guys. Any help would be massively appreciated. And as always, a big shout out and thank you to the members of the channel for supporting. And if you haven't done so already, check out the 2 videos on screen. But I'll see you guys next time for the Italian Grand Prix. Until then, take care, and it's goodbye from me.